Hey there, everybody. P. Pardo here from Comic Book Users. Welcome to another episode of the show. Today, we're going to take a look at the 8th and final issue of Sigma Comics. Here Comes Calico. The final double issue has arrived. We've been showing you, doing some inside the covers on these, starting with issue 1. We also had H.H. Herman on the channel, too, to talk about this small run 8-issue series comic and what's in store for Sigma Comics. So now that the final issue is here, we've got a double issue, like I said, and this kind of finishes up the whole story, sort of, and then leaves it open at the end a little bit. So again, I'm not really sure what their plans are for this character going forward. Of course, for those of you who don't know, he's kind of like a Batman sort of superhero, anti-hero vigilante who basically dons the Calico costume. He's got superior fighting skills and endurance and all that sort of thing. Martial arts expert, master of weapons, and he goes and he fights for the voiceless, the animals, right? So animals that are suffering cruelty and, dog fighting and anything that has to do with cruelty to animals. He's got his people out there in the street who give him tips of things that are going on, and he goes and he takes care of the bad guys. So throughout the series, there's this whole kind of weird war going on between gangs and things, and there's all these kind of bad guys in the crime underworld that Calico has been tangling with, and there's all these kind of side characters that pop up, and most of this kind of comes to somewhat of a kind of finale here in this issue. Like I said, it is a double issue, and we've got pretty hefty as far as like a comic goes. They got quite a lot to read here, and of course this is just so we kind of tell you the team on this book. It's here somewhere. Bear with me a second, folks. Hold on. All right, so we've got creator-writer H.H. Herman, artist-letterer Renato Pinto, colorist Daniel Grimaldi, and the cover done by... Can't read it. It says see cover, but I go to see cover and I can't read whatever that says. If you guys can make it out, go right ahead. Doesn't look familiar to me. Anyway, very cool cover. What I really like about this issue, there's the back cover. All right, if you want to scan to join the list for updates, I'll hold it there. You can put a pause on the video, get your phone out, and do the QR code thing there. What I really like about this issue the most is finally, after 7 issues, we get kind of the origin of Calico and our main character, going back to the Bronx 40 years ago. And they take a look at, and again, I'm not going to show too much of this because I do want you guys to go support and check this out, but you get kind of the beginnings as a child of our main character and his beginnings, where his parents are killed and he and his trusty cat are saved. Right, and then they come under the tutelage of a sensei. I don't even know if he's got a name here. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't. Teaches him all he knows. Grows up with this cat as his best friend. Eventually starts to, do some of the things, work for people based on his skills. The Calico character sort of coming into fruition. But he does all this alongside his trusted cat. But then as he gets older, he starts meeting women. He meets a certain woman, and he's out with her all the time. He kind of neglects his little friend back home. This whole part made me kind of tear up. And because it's a story you hear all too often of young children who have pets that they love and they have this bond, but then as they get older, they kind of forget about their best friends back home, and then the pet, the dog, the cat, whatever, is always waiting for that person, always waiting for that kid who's no longer a kid, now growing up, and they kind of get forgotten a little bit, right? And that's hard. It's part of life, I guess, right? These things do happen, but here, the story is that he goes all in with this woman, and in the end, she kind of screws him over, and he winds up getting, he's crazy about the fact that he can't be with her, and he gets put in jail because he's like stalking her. She basically says, "Get out of my life," and so he winds up going to jail for a short period of time. And what happens? His cat is left at home with no one to care for it. So he's freaking out, trying to call people to get people to go check on his cat. And what winds up happening is the cat's left alone for however long he's in jail, and the cat winds up passing away, and he's absolutely devastated, and he realizes that it's all his fault. So then they kind of pick up back in the present, right? And there we go, moving forward, all of the wars that are going on, and as with all of the Calico comics, action-packed, lots of violence. This is mature content, of course. Lots of blood, some really good battles with all these other very formidable opponents. The whole climax happens in this one building, and he's got to work his way up to the top floor, and going through all of these villains here. Does pretty well for himself. Then you got the side characters, that he's kind of friends with, kind of working with. I mean, my one issue with this comic in general, and even this issue, is that there are so many characters, both on the good side and the bad side, and there's just so much dialogue. It's almost to the point of there's just so much going on, so many people, so many characters to remember. And because this comic is not published, that often, it's quarterly or twice a year or whatever it actually is, that since the last issue came out, you're not reading these every month, so you tend to forget. Well, they're dropping all these names and things like that, and you're like, well, who was that again, and who's that, and why is this guy here, and what's his connection? So it's like you almost, like, every time you got to go back and refresh the stuff from previous issues, right? But I think in the end, a lot of what we love about comic books is in here, right? There's the action, the hero that you really believe in, and that, for me, that's the draw of this comic. It's what he is doing all this for, because I am such an animal lover. I totally get this, and let's get rid of the bad guys who are not doing nice things to animals, and to me, that really kind of strikes home. And I think, it's one thing, the bad guys just want to take over the world, right? It's, whatever. We know all that. That's what comics in general are all about. Here, he's fighting for something different. But there's some really cool kind of like villainous characters in here. I mean, you got this one that looks just like Moon Knight. You got this other dude that's looks like Zaz from DC Comics. I mean, there's all sorts of pretty cool characters in this. But again, I would say you really need to read this from the beginning and work your way through. And there's a lot to take in, and then I won't lie, there were various times during this issue where I was kind of like, all right, why am I not remembering some of this stuff? And so what was that whole dialogue about? And why is this guy here? And what's the connection? But when you're trying to cram all this stuff into just 8 issues, it's got to be difficult, and you're not doing it on a monthly basis. So I applaud these guys for doing as much as they've done with this Here Comes Calico comic. And like I said, without giving it away, the ending leaves it open to hopefully further adventures. We'll see. I'm not really sure what Sigma plans on doing, whether this was only ever going to be the only title. Are they going to introduce new things? Were they just kind of waiting to see how this one took and how successful this was? I don't know. I think Calico is a great character, and I would like to see more from Sigma Comics, maybe offshoots from this, continuation of Calico, maybe other characters. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But for now, very cool finale. Go collect them all. Sigma Comics, like I said, sigmacomics.com. Once again, there's the QR code if you want to investigate a little further, but there, of course, is the URL to go check out. Final issue of an 8-issue run. Here Comes Calico. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already and click on that notification bell so you get alert of all of our content as it posts. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Also down below, we got the links to the Sea of Tranquility merch page where you can get a Comic Book Geezers t-shirt or coffee mug. It's all the way down at the bottom of all the other Sea of Tranquility stuff, so go check it out. And thanks for watching. We'll see you soon here with more stuff. I'll be back with Wild Bill on the next episode and a few to follow after that. So thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good weekend. I am Pete. Take care. Bye-bye.